So this interview is for an exercise in a course that I'm taking this semester. For the purpose of this exercise, do you consent to being recorded and interviewed?
I, Andrew DeWispelair, do consent to being both interviewed and recorded.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Will you state your name and where you work for me?
My name is Andrew DeWispelair. I work at Legend Partners. It's a commercial real estate brokerage firm in Denver, Colorado.
All right, perfect. I would like to learn about your experience of gender in the workplace.
Okay.
So the first question is, can you describe where you work in as much detail as possible?
It's a very open layout to the office. There's really no bullpen. It's mostly everybody has a glass windowed office. So there's a lot of natural light. Everybody can see everybody pretty much all day. That's pretty much the layout of the office.
Okay, and will you describe a typical day, like what activities you do?
So I'll come into work at 8 o'clock, and from there I have 3 obligations. The first is to conduct financial analysis for our properties that we're trying to sell, to compile cold calling data for our brokers. My last obligation is to create what's called an offering memorandum.
Okay, and who are your co-workers and what activities do they do?
So the 2 people I interact with the most are our investment brokers. So they're actually doing the buying and selling of the real estate assets. And there are these 2 men. One's in his 30s, the other's in his late 40s, and they've been doing it their whole life. So those are the 2 I answer to directly, and they're the 2 people I work for directly.
And does there seem to be a difference between what men do and women do?
In the office, there's definitely sort of a split. A lot of the investment brokers are men. A lot of the leasing brokers are men. There's women represented in both, but I'd say for those jobs, it's a little bit more skewed towards men. Again, it's a boutique firm. It's very small, but I would say the women's jobs are typically, all 3 of our receptionists are women. Half our marketing department is women. So I think there's sort of a split there in sort of what the roles are,
Okay.
at least in that very small office in this instant of who does what.
So what do men typically do in your firm?
So generally they're the ones that are actually making the deals. Again, this is just sort of a gross stereotype.
Yeah.
There are women who do it.
So they seem to be more face-to-face with your clients?
Basically, they're the ones that are putting together the deals. They're the ones that are finding the deals, and they're the ones who are doing the due diligence and figuring out the specifics of the deal so they can bring it to fruition and actually close the deal.
Okay. This might not be true of your company, but can you tell me about a time that your gender or the gender of a coworker caused an issue or was an issue?
It's never been an issue in my office.
No?
No. I'm trying to think, and I can't recall an instance where that was an issue.
So would you say that there's an obvious separation that you or anyone else would notice between the genders in your firm?
I don't know if it'd be immediately obvious. I think you'd have to do a little bit of scrutinization, but I think if you just sort of made a list of all the men who work in the office and what they do, and all the women who work in the office and what they do, there's sort of a separation. When
I bring it up, does it bring back any memories, or do you think of something that you might not have thought about if I hadn't mentioned it?
Now that you sort of do mention it, I never really considered the sort of 2 separate sort of roles that they play in my office. It's not immediately obvious. But when you actually think about it and you sort of run the numbers in your head, there sort of is a little bit of a divide there.
Yeah.
In what each gender seems to do, and how many of each gender does which job.
Are there specific jobs that are all women or specific jobs that are all men?
I think this is a pretty popular pattern, but all of our receptionists.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
Were females. So yeah, I mean, that one's pretty obvious, especially because they're the ones who you see when you walk into the office. That's the
Yeah.
first face. I think that could make it a little more identifiable.
Yeah. And do you think any other people notice this, or is it just something that kind of goes over everyone's head unless it's addressed?
You know, I don't think this is something that people would immediately notice.
Mhm.
I think you'd have to, you know, even just prompting the question would probably make you notice that pattern.
Yeah.
But I think just going about your daily life, it's not something you really think about
Yeah.
day to day.
So in your opinion, do you think it's a problem or something that should be dealt with, or maybe not in your firm, but overall?
I don't know if it's
Because in your firm, it doesn't sound like you have a problem with it, really, per se.
well, not really, and I'm in no way saying that like women have to do that job or they should do that job in reception or they shouldn't do the brokerage job issue because you know that opportunity does exist. Again, I'm working with such a small sample size that who knows, you know, if it's skewed in one direction.
Yeah.
But I think because that opportunity exists for everybody, you know, it really comes down to your talent and if you can close a deal.
I think that's all I have, actually.
Awesome.
Thank you for meeting with me.
Yeah, no problem.